Go ahead. Well, thank you. We're glad to have Dr. Lillie Thirster. As many of you have met her already, she's from Arkansas State University. I had the opportunity to get to know her a little better at the Southwest Symposium in Arlington. And she does this great presentation in Arlington. And you've heard me say this several times. I thought, what a great presentation. I wish she could come and do it at BYU, and she offered to come and do it. And so we've kind of arranged a little bit of an informal gathering today for her to make this presentation. Dr. Fierce has her PhD from the University of Missouri. She has a broad range of expertise, one of which is issues related to multiculturalism. And I'm going to turn the time over to you for your presentation.
Okay,
thank
you.
And when you're all done, I've got something to give to you. So we'll let you do your presentation.
All right, then. I guess I should apologize about the double overtime. I was in
this is better. I've heard this presentation. This is much better.
Okay. I was in a similar situation Saturday with my niece's 7 and 8-year-old basketball team. We had 4 overtimes, so, and you all are not a lot more pleasant than those parents were, so it got pretty rowdy. Oh, man, okay. Maybe that's good news. Okay, good. But anyway, as Steve said, I'm very happy to be here, and I believe this is my final presentation. I've been interacting with students, and basically what I'm going to present today is what I presented at the conference back in November, and it's a review of what I've done in the past and a takeoff of my dissertation. And I became interested in my topic again after I had a grad student in a class. Was it last fall, maybe last spring? She was interested in women's portrayals. And I said, well, she's looking at kind of what I looked at 5 years ago. And I kind of keep up with what's going on, but I thought I would just bring her on board and we would extend what I was already doing. The title of today's presentation is No Longer Nappy-Headed and Angry, a critique of African American women's images in media. And where I get these terms from, these are from recent incidents involving high-profile women in the media. If you're familiar with Barack Obama's 2008 presidential campaign, you probably saw Michelle Obama in the early days of the campaign, early 2008. She was very vocal, very visible on the campaign, and at one point, I'll mention later in my presentation, her negatives were polling so high they had to pull her, according to what I've read, they had to pull her to the side and recraft her image because of some things that she said, and she just polled very negatively. The nappy-headed term came from the remark that shock jock Don Imus made about the Rutgers women's basketball team, I believe in 2007. He was on the radio one morning, and he was just, laughing with the sidekick guy on the show and referred to them as nappy-headed hoes and some other things he said. And somebody happened to pick it up and put it on the Media Watch listserv, and he ended up getting pulled off the show. I think he was technically fired, but he eventually resurfaced, and I'll get into that later. So what you'll see, I'm going to do an overview of what I used to, the research, where my research stopped in at my dissertation level and a few publications out of that. And then I pick up because I'm thinking that I had this idea that maybe when these high-profile women are in the media, such as Condoleezza Rice and Michelle Obama, people are saying some people don't know what to do with them and how to categorize them. They are the equivalent of Claire Huxtable on the Cosby Show, but in a real life setting, do these people really know what to do when they see people like this? They really do exist. It's just not Claire Huxtable. And Michelle Obama even made a comment once when her image was really being debated. She just said, people are just now seeing folks like Barack and me, and we've always been around, you just don't see us a lot. I have a comment in my actual paper where she makes that comment. But anyway, like I said, I'll begin with an overview of where I stopped with my dissertation. Okay, for the most part, if you read the literature and do any gender studies, you'll find that with women in general, but like I said, I focus on African American women. African American women's their representations are stereotypical, negative, and often controversial when they make it get a lot of visibility. In the literature, you'll find that there are 4 traditional stereotypes of African American women, and these are the categories into which they fall: the mammy, the matriarch, the welfare queen, and the Jezebel. And this comes out of the sociological and the just mainstream literature, and I have a definition of each one of these. Black feminist thought, this is from sociology. It's a body of thought produced by sociologist Patricia Hills Collins, and she wrote a book in 1991. She published it in 1991 called Black Feminist Thought. Basically, she says that historically these 4 images, she calls them controlling images. They have been used by those in power and other authority figures to manipulate social policy and thought. And she also gives an example of when Daniel Patrick Moynihan was helping to get some legislation passed once. He even drew on one of these images, and I think it was the matriarch or, well, the welfare queen image, and he thought that that was why black people were on welfare. He made comments about that. So he was even influenced, and he was a high political figure. Patterson also, actually Collins quotes Patterson in her book. Patterson says that a part of a generalized ideology of domination, as part of a generalized ideology of domination, these images of black womanhood take on special meaning because the authority to define these symbols is a major instrument of power. And he goes on to say that this power, when used by elite white men, they use the power to manipulate appropriate symbols concerning black women. And so I'm suggesting that maybe the problems that Don Imus ran into had something to do with the way Patterson describes it, because, I mean, rappers use those terms all the time. Why aren't they criticized and silenced? But when Don Imus did it, elite, multimillionaire, king of the airwaves at certain hours of the day, he gets criticized and silenced. So I'm saying, well, maybe this is kind of what Patterson and Collins are talking about. Okay, a little bit about the background on the mammy figure. According to the literature, it's usually the character who's faithful and an obedient domestic servant. She's used to justify the economic exploitation of house slaves. At least she was back in slavery. She cares for her white family better than her own, often termed as a wet nurse. And her appearance has a lot to do with her image. It's usually a very heavy-set black woman, overweight, not very attractive to most men, very dark, but she's the white family loves her in most of these images. Here's some examples of the mammy image. Aunt Jemima is considered a mammy image, a takeoff of the mammy image in advertising. And here's just some examples of how Aunt Jemima has been made over on the pancake box over the years. I don't know if some of the advertising people might remember when she got her latest makeup with the pearl earrings. So that was a big step back in the 1990s. But this is how her image has kind of evolved over the years. Always with the head rag. Notice that she's a very full-figured lady, dark. I didn't know about the Edith Wilson lady. But usually very dark, and there are some photos of Aunt Jemima that are much more grabbing than these, but this is how she looks now. If you buy Aunt Jemima pancake mix, the color photo is what you'll see on the box now.